Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the week ending 27th of September 2025. Burnham denies but can't disguise that his eyes are on the top prize. The UN hears Trump criticise the world's demise, except for America, which is on the rise. Pregnant women are advised that taking paracetamol is unwise. Davey tries to have Farage demonised. A crowd of significant size sees the red roses' potential realised as they take rugby's biggest prize. Dickie Bird dies. Andy Burnham seems very determined to keep Keir Starmer on the hook, squirming. The Prime Minister has had a month to forget ever since he launched his autumn reset. For many Mancunians, Burnham's been the right mayor. For Starmer, he's turning into his worst nightmare. In fact, Sir Keir must have felt considerable pique that, on the eve of Labour's annual conference week, Burnham should give 2 interviews to the press in which his future intentions were addressed. He claimed some Labour MPs had made the request for him to oust the PM and sort out his mess. And now more heads appeared over the parapet, having a snipe at Starmer and his cabinet. But those jumping on the bandwagon found their wheels dragging as the cabinet quickly circled the wagons and gave the disruptors a right finger wagging. And Burnham went back in his box and stopped bragging. And as for his attempt at testing the waters, what can be said about what it has taught us? That there is discontent from several quarters, but for now Starmer's party won't have him slaughtered. But he might well still be in the Last Chance saloon, so to try to lift the mood of gloom and doom, he threw in a diversion to change the tune, announcing national ID cards coming soon. The main purpose for introducing such a scheme is to clamp down on illegal migration, it seems, because that is one of the main political themes central to British discourse, not just the extremes. With Reform UK winning every poll at a stroll, our national narrative is in Farage's control. And Nige received at least 30 mentions in Ed Davey's speech at the Lib Dem convention, which closed their 4-day conference in Harrogate when reform was the target of every debate. Labour was slaughtered, Tories were taunted, but reform clearly have the Liberal Democrats haunted. The words that Trump heard from King Charles III at last week's Windsor banquet seems to have stirred some clarity in his mind where before things were blurred. Charles subtly averred that Russia must be deterred, and it may seem absurd that it has only now occurred to Trump that it's Russia, not Ukraine, that has erred. And because Russia's erred, Ukraine must be heard, and addressing world security can no longer be deferred. On Tuesday came evidence that the penny had dropped when Trump posted that Putin's war can be stopped. Kyiv can get Ukraine back in its original form, he wrote on his own Truth Social platform. All previous claims that Ukraine must cede land now seemingly forgotten by the big orange man. A complete 180, there's no disputing. Trump's clearly got the hump over his pal Putin. This all came amidst a 24-hour tempest, with Trump's tempestuousness at its intensest. His track record on giving medical advice is, let's say, not very helpful in a crisis. In 2020, when talking about the COVID virus, his suggested prescription was not the wisest. Most experts viewed it as massive overreach when in a speech he suggested people drink bleach. A pre-jab silver bullet from the US president handed on a plate to the vaccine hesitant. And on Monday, based mainly on his gut feeling, he advised pregnant women by appealing for them to fight like hell to avoid paracetamol. On the list of Trump's dumb quotes, maybe this beats them all. The painkiller causes autism in the unborn child. That's Trump's belief without any evidence compiled. On Monday, Trump spoke at the UN in New York, an hour's rambling talk which made many balk. To start with, a list of his achievements was unfurled. Then he went round the world, rounding on the world, bragging that America's doing very well while most other nations are going to hell. Climate change he called the greatest con job ever. Presumably he hasn't noticed a change in the weather. And he said Europe is doomed to be damned by what he referred to as the green energy scam. He has personally ended 7 wars, he claimed, although none of the conflicts were actually named. And the UN had achieved little in that regard, inferring peace is only gained by going in hard. Strongly worded, politically correct resolutions are no way to bring about peaceful solutions. For Trump, peace comes through tough guys making deals, not the UN Security Council's mealy-mouthed spiel. In 2025, it could be said more or less, the big stories of English sporting success have come about due to our women's prowess. July was the month of the Lioness, and on Saturday the Red Roses rugby team defeated Canada 33-13. 82,000 fans were at Twickenham to see the magnificent crowning World Cup glory. Their other World Cup win was in 1994, which a mere 5,000 spectators saw. And finally to a legend of the cricket game who became known by his silly-sounding nickname, an umpire who even non-cricket fans knew for his on-field antics and off-field point of view. On Monday, Dickie Bird was out for 92.